yesterday, unajua, I was listening to this Okiya Omtatah guy, and
Yes, yes.
I learned something that I always like taken for granted. This guy, the way he was talking, for example, we guys, we are always talking about we the people. Unajua? So this guy went further. I hope most of you were in that space. So this Okiya Omtatah guy went further and said, we the people means a Kenyan with the vote. Unajua? Kwa sababu at the end of the day, Ruto is there because of our vote somehow, but we don't know if this time we will use the vote. But putting that aside, where anytime someone comes to space and talks about the changes, we also must make sure we have that vote. Unajua? That vote, that is what makes you we the people, because that is the deciding factor. Because whether we do revolution to a toy at some point we have to vote in the someone who is the president, who is democratically elected. Unajua? So we always have to remember this thing. We've been taking it for granted. Unajua? Like you look at the number of youth who've been voting. You see, like me, I speak for myself sometimes. This year, the last 5 months, the interest of Kenyan youth in politics has been amazing. Unajua, me, if I look at like the way my nephews, my mother, the way they are now interested in politics after the 25th June, it's so much encouraging. Like we people we are owning up, to the cake. We are looking at the mistakes of our parents and we are avoiding them. Unajua, the only thing that still iwe inanipatia this fear is that there's this narrative about the tyranny of numbers and the tribal, the way people are being, unajua, you see a neighbor, mtu tu mko naye umekuwa ukimsaidia, hana rent, unamchip up, but that day of voting, that's when the differences come. And sometimes it's not even the politician, it's just us. Unajua, I don't know, we need to get rid of this culture. Mtu tu akopoa umemsaidia campus, even you give them job, you employ them, it's not like you're like blackmailing them that if you employ them, they must go your way of thinking. No, I mean, like at the end of the day, these guys, the decisions they make on the ballot, it's just whatever you do, they just have to wait for the decisions from home, from their mother, like from the millennials, they have to look for them. What is the decision on the ground? Unajua, what are they talking about? And they just follow that line like sheep. This is what we need to get rid of. Unajua, Fabish, sometimes we talk here for hours and hours. Unajua, even don't get me wrong, I'm not discouraging anyone, I'm just being factually and realistic. Sometimes you can speak. For example, I remember very well 2022. I'm from Nyanza. I told my mom, listen, I don't support Raila. Me, I will tell you, I've never supported that guy, for honestly. But when someone tries to bring this narrative of everyone from Nyanza always votes this guy, to be honest, me, I'm always the minority. My family knows me, They know I'm always against this guy. For one, I don't succumb to someone who never wants to be held accountable at the grassroots. Unajua, imagine you go to the grassroots level, you want to go in with that ticket. All of us know here what happens there. But if that guy does not second you or doesn't like you, whether you are famous or what, this guy, you will not get that ticket. Unaelewa? So this is one of the reasons from the grassroots level. There is dictatorship in ODM, for example. So I'm just telling you so you know. So when I see someone on the timeline talking about people from this region, they only go this way, unajua, or they generalize. This is what exactly is giving power, unajua, to the elites, to these political elites, because they know at the end of the day, it will take only 1 month, to rubbish all this civic education. They will just walk around the villages and tell them, look, we are going to have one party, one suit, unajua, so that we have defense in the parliament, this bullshit. So that when they reach there, they are able to pass all these bills zenye mnaona, left, right, and center, unajua. So you ask yourself, when you are here in this space today, ask yourself one question. At the end of the day, don't come to this space kama usha make mind yako where you are going to vote. Don't come here with a fixed mind. Come here ready to learn and ready to follow facts, unajua, and look at the history. If you cannot learn from history, you keep making the same mistake here to vote emotional vote, then Ruto will not come out of that seat easily through ballot. Everyone agrees. Everyone when wanaongea kwa television utasikia wakisema kutoa Ruto 2027 will be a joke. Unajua, look at how this guy is capturing the judiciary. IEBC hata ajali. This guy mind yake mnaongea 2027. This guy mind yake iko huko 2034 huko. He wants to extend. Get. He's playing a very high game. We have to reach his level of strategy. Unajua, let's reach his level. Let's argue there ahead of him. Unajua, but the first things first. Fabish, let's insist kila mtu akuwe na vote. Anything can happen. Revolution can happen anytime. It's not a matter of how but when. But when it happens, alafu upate kwa hii space, for example, utapata 4 people out of 37 wako na kura, and they are talking about political solutions for political problems. So that is my, I don't want to rage so much, but I just speak from experience. Unajua, So guys, please, in your timeline, stop generalizing, number one. And number two, to avoid this thing of kuweka watu sijui kwa sijui Nyanza, region, sijui. This one should be abolished. That's what Rwanda did. That's what Rwanda did. That's why saizi wameendelea. Kenyans, we are just looking at them kwa view sasa. Unajua, walibanizi vitu za call mtu from the tribe, I don't know from what. For example, me, for example, I'm from the Nyanza, unajua region. My wife is from Kalenjin. So what exactly should I tell my kids, for example? Which tribe are they? Are they Kalenjins or are they Luo? Unaget, Look at people like, one time I challenged my family. For example, I told them, Orengo, wife Orengo anatoka wapi? Okay, mtoto wa Raila kijanake alioa wapi? Let's start from there. Okay, Babu Owino, wife yake anatoka wapi? But you find that there is this thing about ethnic classism or tribal classism yenye tu ukioa from outside inakujanga tu inatokea from our parents and grandparents. Unaget? We need to get rid of this from the grassroots. This is where it comes in. Unajua? So me, when someone says for me this thing of tribalism, let's start from the leaders you pick. Unajua? Mwenye wanakuja wanakuambia hivi at you need to vote this way because these guys did this. When Rigathi was abusing Raila, that is personal. That's their own business. Don't involve me. Unaget? Rigathi kwenda, I don't need to celebrate or to be sad about anything. That is not my problem. Because what makes you think that Rigathi akienda, ati now we will have everything cheap? But for your information, even tax have just gone high. See, IMF wamepeana loan kwa sababu UAE was giving them some cheaper loan. But IMF wakasema no. Okay, ukichukua hiyo loan tena wacha tukupatia ile ingine, okay, but ongeza tax. And what is Obado doing this? What is his name? This treasury guy. Ndio hiyo 2024 bill imekuja. So do you think Rigathi was the problem? No. So why are people celebrating? Rigathi was not the problem. The problem is the snake must go. We need to change that. So this is the narrative we should be spreading. Unajua? That we don't need to be classified along tribal lines and to be put in regions of this data about tribal politics. I will land for now, okay? I will be listening. Thanks so much, Fabish.
Yeah, thank you. Kumbukeni.
Sasa Fabish.
Karibu sana Kumbukeni.
Asanti. Sijapata ujumbe bado. Wamemwachilia Tom ama bado?
Nani?
Tom Gombe.
Bado hatujapata ujumbe wa Tom Gombe.
Aya basi. So that's another thing we have to do today, to sukume hiyo post tena leo. Anyway, so Ponji, nilikuwa nimeambia Fabish nitakaa chini leo nisikize, lakini ukaanza kuongea alafu mimi nikasema hapana, siwezi kaa chini, lazima niingie niseme something. There's something called, leo asubuhi nilikuwa mafunzo. Wale ambao mjui, kuna mwalimu ambaye alikuwa hapo kitambo, alikuwa anaitwa John Carruthers, and he talks about it. There's something called phantom of liberation. The phantom of liberation. The phantom of liberation is the idea that we black people, sisi wa Afrika, sisi wa na Ubuntu, we think that we can get liberated within the system of oppression, which is a false notion, and therefore the idea of a phantom of liberation, and we are always chasing it. And we are always chasing it and saying the vote, the vote, the vote, the vote, the vote. Lakini mna vote within a system of oppression. System yenye imesetiwa up already kuwafailia. So ni kama una vote ndio uone utapata kiwango kipi cha mkate. So how much of the crumbs will you get? That's essentially what you're getting. You're not putting your efforts in being the baker and the grower of the wheat and the one who decides who's going to get the bread or not. You're busy fighting for the crumbs, and that's the phantom of liberation, which is why nasema history ya kushinda mkizungumzia voting without looking outside of the box and seeing where we need to go, without approaching things from an African. Na democracy ni vipi tuko na democracy na system high function? Ni vipi tuko na democracy na mimi siwezi kuja hapa niseme Ruto ni mwenda wazimu na nisishikwe? So this idea of thinking that voting is the solution, we need to get away from it, because it will keep us in a cycle of oppression. Voting is not the solution. Voting seems like the solution, but it's not the solution, especially under the system. Once we break this system and we have our own system, then we can start talking about how are we going to govern that system. And maybe we start planning ahead and implement once we have liberation. Lakini history ya kushinda tukisema under this system of oppression ati tukivote there's no liberation as long as the system stands. Asante Fabish, wacha nirudi chini.
Sorry. Before you go down, I would like to be clear. What I was saying was this. Listen, at the end of the day, that's what I said. At the end of the day, you must have a voter's card. You want to get rid of the whole system. Yes, well and good. We still need to vote it out at some point, and unless you're going for authoritative, or any other, dictatorial, means of governance. I think as we speak now, we need to make sure at least we have the voting card. I'm not saying that we are going to vote 2027 or tomorrow or after tomorrow, but we should have also plan A, B, and C. So plan B, A should be like revolution, okay? And then we move to plan B, plan C, all those courses of action. But if we just go for plan A and we I know revolution takes time, but what if we are called for votes for something that affects our lives, like what we are talking about now, the system or referendum?
Yeah, Jabonji, we're the point where we start getting distracted. Your narrative najua umetoa huko kwa Okiya Omtatah. That's what I'm telling you. These people sometimes they want to put themselves kwamba wanajua ama they are leading us while they are distracting us. Number one, taking a vote does not need 1 year. When we have a proper system that is working, even 2 days, 3 days, kila moja anaweza na nakakata kura. Telling us to have full plates at the same time is not making sense. Tumekuja tukakaa tukazungumza na tukaona we avoid all options. Tukaangalia tukasema the only way ya kumwondoa William Ruto is all through voting. It is through revolution. Telling us at some point when you already remove and you already have a credible institutions in place, taking a voter's card, it does not need atisiju kungojea nini. When the systems are working, within 1 week, kila mtu amekuwa na voter's card na imeisha. So I don't know why now people lazima some things is very normal, very very, si kitu ya kusema tu kwamba lazima kupanga kuchukua kadi. Ikifika hiyo wakati watu watachukua kadi. We are not saying kwamba ati watu watachukua cards forever. Now you are asking another question, that we are taking ourselves round bottom to the pit, that what if there is something to vote in this country? That is not even should be a question from someone ambao tunajua kwamba tunapigania revolution. Voting in this country with this current regime. Now, what is the difference between IBC and the judiciary? You want to tell me that things that judiciary cannot do, IBC will have that miraculously, that they will execute the mandate as expected, while judiciary, that actually they are the ones supposed to be very strict in adhering to that constitution, are doing other things. So what we should be saying is, in this current regime of William Ruto, we don't want to hear anything about call voting. Anything about voting under William Ruto is a scam. We must first understand and stick to that. Hata iwe nini, anything about voting in William Ruto regime, that one is a scam. So William Ruto akiondoka, we have, whether hata kama ni transition committee, you know, problem with watu kama Okiya Omtatah, they start to be, you know, they are led with greed and opportunistic. Kwamba, okay, this is our opportunity, tukuje, tutafute ile fame ya wanasiasa. Now they are not thinking about the interest of the country again. They are marauding like wounded hyenas, looking for carcass somewhere. Ni kama fisi, wanazunguka sasa wakitafuta mizoga. That is politicians, typical politicians in Kenya, how they behave. They always look for opportunity, but they don't want to face realities with people. Okiya Omtatah, I can assure him that leo tukaenda uchaguzi, anafikiria anaenda na Ruto, even we cannot even gather 1 million votes. Wacha hiyo kwamba anajidanganya na kujiuzia uongo ya pesa nani. That is the reality for now with William Ruto. But later, yes, it is that we can uplift him. So hii mambo ni ya kutudistract, kutuambia kura kwani inahitaji nini kuchukua kura kama institutions zina work. Siku 2 siku 3 kila mmoja ameweka kura mfukoni. Kwa hivyo mbona tuchukue hiyo ikuwe ni big deal? Big deal ni kuondoa William Ruto saizi. That is a big deal. Tukafika 2027 kama tujemuondoa Ruto, hatuwezi kumuondoa kwa kura, tutaendelea pia lazima tumuondoe kwa revolution. That is what thing we should be talking about.
Fabish, I understand that we are in a forum for revolution. I respect that and I am in for it. What I'm trying to say is we can always deal with revolution as also we try to maraud or work on other ventures. It's like this public participation or whatever, we know it's rigged, but doesn't mean that we cannot do things like protests, you know, going to the street, using hashtag, all this, as long as all our aims are headed to the same thing, you know, like we are all trying to get there. All our motive is one, to get rid of Ruto. Any channel we can use at our disposal, you know, whatever it takes, as long as we all align towards the goal. That's what I'm trying to say. I'm not saying that the only way is voting. I know that for a fact, and you know, and we all know, no one is going to beat Ruto on the ballot box in 2027. We all know that now. However, during our revolution, we should always keep in mind, like, what's next after revolution? We have to form systems. We have to come up with we have to come up with a solution to form the government. And someone just said before they dropped out that the system is so corrupt, it's not working. Yeah, we can fix that after revolution, but we still need to have the card ready for anything. That's what I meant. Plan A, B, C, and D. People who are doing demonstration, we cannot stop them because it's not revolution. People who are going to vote, we cannot stop them if that is the case because the revolution is going on. We will try, and that is what we are trying to do here. So we should suspend constitution like Ruto has done. Ruto has actually suspended constitution, and it's showing us his middle finger. That is what he's doing. But what do we have left? Because the judiciary is gone. The IBC is gone. So what do we have left? Civil disobedience is what I advocated for the other day as part of the struggle, you know, to get rid of this guy, civil disobedience. But again, if you look at all this civil disobedience and all this demonstration and revolution, you know, we need to bring in people of the like-mindedness, and we need loyalty, you know. We need to come up with a different movement, different from the space. We need to have something called what makes a revolution successful. We have to look into that. We have to break down real revolution, not revolution on space. We have to break it down. What does it take to go to revolt against someone like Ruto, who has been killing us left, right, and center, who has been jailing, abducting, and doing all those things? after suspending the constitution. So we have to get the few people. That's why in one of the spaces I was saying, if we are going revolution way, we must have loyalists, 100 people only, to form this revolution and we move forward. Okay? Sorry, I think Kali